What do we mean by sensory learning? Why should that be something that we would consider? Is it something we need to do or think about? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Grow Together, Learn Together. My name's Mel. I'm an early childhood educator and primary school teacher, and I'm really excited to share with you some of my knowledge and experience when it comes to raising children. What are our senses? Our senses are the way our body gathers information, and we use that to help us decide what to do and how to behave. Most people are familiar with the 5 senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch. These senses help us to gather information from external sources, such as tasting our food to decide whether we like it and whether or not we should eat it, or seeing that there is a bus coming and deciding whether or not we should step out into the road. What if I told you that we also have internal senses or feelings that let us know what is going on inside our bodies? For example, when we feel hungry, we know that our body wants fuel and so we eat. When we feel cold, we know that our body is losing temperature, so we put on a jumper. So you can see that our internal and external senses help us to decide how we feel and what we need, and therefore how we should behave. When babies are born, they're not born with fully functioning sensory systems, nor are they born with an innate understanding of how to interpret the information and therefore how to act. Babies and children learn what these senses do and how to respond to them by interacting and responding to them as they grow. Sensory integration is referring to how the body interprets these feelings and emotions and how it then directs us to act in response. So going back to putting a jumper on when we feel cold, our body and our brain works out that that feeling of coldness means that our body is losing temperature and prompts us to think of going and putting on a jumper. But babies and children don't necessarily understand what that feeling of coldness actually means and therefore what the best response is. That's something they need to learn as they grow. Babies develop their senses at different rates, meaning that all their senses help them to learn and grow in different ways and at different times. What this all really means is that babies and children need a really wide variety of different activities that stimulate their different senses so that their senses grow and develop, and that babies and children learn to understand what those impulses actually mean and how to interpret them. Those of you with very young babies will know that babies really like putting things in their mouths. This is actually a really important way for babies to explore the world. When babies are born, their sense of touch, taste, and smell is more mature than their sense of sight or even their sense of hearing. So when a baby puts things in their mouth, they're getting a really good, accurate interpretation of the world around them and the things that they interact with. By putting things in their mouths, they feel texture, taste, they get a sense of the smell, they get an idea of the size and the shape of the object or item. They also start to explore whether it's light or heavy. I know it might actually be hard to do, but if the item that your baby is playing with and putting in their mouths isn't going to hurt them in any way, let them do it. It's a really important exploratory tool for babies to learn about the world. There are lots of different ways that you can stimulate your baby's and your children's sensory learning. In later videos, I'm going to go through and show you a number of different activities that you can do quite easily at home. Sensory play is great because it doesn't need to involve anything really complicated or really pricey. It can be as simple as watching bubbles float past, scrunching paper, playing with water as it runs out of a tap, holding different objects with different textures and being allowed to feel them and taste them. With these types of activities, you can start really young with a really small baby, and they're also really fun for toddlers and very young children. For example, you could play with textures. They could have something smooth, like an egg, something soft, like a sponge, or hard, like a block. Provided there's nothing too small that could be a choking hazard, anything really can be something a baby can explore and play with. The really wonderful thing about sensory play and learning is that it encourages more than just sensory development. It encourages exploration and investigation, problem solving and critical thinking, which are all part of scientific and mathematical approaches. It helps them to make decisions about their own learning, as well as being adaptable and flexible. These are all really important things to be a critical thinker and an open-ended thinker. This is just a really brief overview of sensory learning. Like I said, I will make future videos about different activities to promote sensory learning and development, as well as different ways that sensory learning and development can be integrated into other types of learning for a really great overarching learning experience. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please hit like, consider subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to hit the little bell to get notified when I post further videos. See you later.